When we installed our French drain last year, we made some big mistakes and we learned a lot along the way. Today I'm going to give you the 10 things that we learned that will hopefully make your process go a lot smoother. And if you stick around to the end, we'll let you know exactly how much we spent on this project. So let's go. Before digging, you need to call 811. Now, if you're not familiar, 811 is the national call before you dig phone number. By doing this, it allows local companies plenty of time. They'll come out, they'll locate and mark their buried utilities. Keep in mind, you'll want to do this a few days before the works to begin though. This allows the providers plenty of time to come out and get everything located. I put this first because it needs to be the first thing that you do. It's a big deal. The last thing you want to do is cut into a gas, power, or water line. Now you'll want to take a little bit of time to determine the best location for your drain exit. Give this some serious thought. You don't want to take water that's, say, flooding your yard and then turn it and exit it into your neighbor's front yard. Now that wouldn't be cool.
That's not cool, man.
That is really insensitive.
We chose to exit ours onto our existing road ditch line. We also verified with our local HOA that there were no issues with doing this, and they were completely fine with it. When you determine the best location for your drain, you'll want to consider the slope of the ground between the drain start and stop points. Our yard honestly seemed fairly flat to us, but once we started this process, we quickly realized that it actually sloped toward the house. This is a problem because we couldn't just dig the trench to the same depth all the way across the yard. Instead, we had to dig it deeper as it got farther from the house. And honestly, had there been much more height difference, it would have actually ended up being too low to exit into the ditch, and then that would have been a whole other nightmare. Remember that water won't run uphill, so you'll want to make sure that it has a very small amount of slope downhill to help it drain adequately. Now, when you're working through this whole process, you'll also want to determine whether you're going to use a basin for the gutter to empty into, or if you're going to actually connect your gutter to the drain pipe. Now, we chose to connect our gutter directly. The only negative consequence that we've experienced so far by doing this was that we had to raise our line up out of the flower bed in order to get good water flow. So it's been a little bit of an eyesore. Now, this was a lesson that we learned the hard way though, so hopefully you can make plans accordingly and you won't have to do this. You're going to be faced with several different options when it comes to pipe choices. You can use sticks of PVC sewer pipe, or you can use corrugated continuous pipe. Now, we chose the corrugated pipe because it was cheaper and easier than putting 10-foot sticks together. It's about 4 inches in diameter and it comes in about a 100-foot roll. You can buy this at Lowe's, but we ended up choosing S Hardware because they were cheaper at the time. While you're there, go ahead and get any other fittings that you're going to need. For us, we got a few bendable 90s, a drain grate exit, and some other couplers and things. This is all going to be based solely on your particular design for your French drain though. If you're going to hand dig your trench, I've just got one thing to say.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
This is a workout. We hand dug about 75 feet and honestly, it was terrible. Now, it was in June, on our anniversary. I'm not real smart. Just understand though that this is hard work. It took all day to dig this thing and get it set and then filled back in. And honestly, if I were doing it again, I might rent a trencher or a small backhoe. It was a long day. Also, get yourself a sod cutter. This one here I borrowed from my cousin and I still haven't returned it. Sorry, Darren. I checked online and you can pick one up for about 28, 30 bucks. It allows you to make nice clean cuts in the sod, which in turn makes digging much easier. It also makes adding it back in easier, so you can hopefully lay it all back in place nice and neat. We'll put a link in the description to this one. Once we got our drain in place, we connected it up to our gutter spout and then grabbed a ladder and started running water from the hose into the gutter. Basically, we're trying to simulate waterfall and determine how this thing is actually going to drain. In our case, didn't drain worth a crap. So a few bad words were said, and that's when we realized just how unlevel our yard actually was. On the ditch end, we had to go deeper, and on the house side, we had to go higher. Now, with a lot of back and forth though, we finally got a good water flow, and I can laugh about this now, but at the time, it was really frustrating. When you cover your pipe back up, you need to hump the dirt and grass up over the trench. If you just make it level after the first few rains, it's going to compact and then you're going to end up with a ditch in your yard. I honestly thought that I probably humped ours up a little bit too much over the trench, but now, a year later, it's pretty much smooth. And trust me when I say originally it was really high, so much that you couldn't really go over it with the mower without scalping the ground. In addition to this, be sure and tamp it down. Have the kids walk on it, stomp on it, the dog, neighbor's kids, drive over with your mower, anything you can do to just help get everything compacted. Be sure and put a grate of some kind on the end of your drain. The last thing you want is critters and things building a nest in your pipe during the dry season, causing you lots of problems. In our case, we had a hard time finding a grate that actually would fit the pipe correctly, so we ended up using a combination of CA glue and silicone to get it to adhere. It's been almost a year and it's still working, so it'll be interesting to see like how long it actually lasts. I anticipate when it fails, this time I'll probably just put a couple of screws into it from the side. So the part that everybody's always curious about is the money. Now, we did a little bit of research online and it became evident that it wasn't uncommon for companies to charge around $25 a linear foot. So in our case, we had about a 75-foot drain, so that would have rang in close to $2,000. And honestly, this is why we choose to DIY things when they make sense, because for us, we spent about 150 bucks on this thing. Now, prices have gone up a little bit, so I'm still going to say you could do this for $250. And in my opinion, a hard day's work is easily worth an $1,800 savings.